Hello Internet, I'm J-Funk, and this is my guide for Heroic and Mythic Broodtwister Ovi'nax. Have you been wondering where the ad fights have been in this raid tier? Boy howdy, do I have a boss for you. Welcome to Broodtwister Ovi'nax. First things first, you'll notice many eggs scattered about the arena. These are the most important part of this fight. If you're a keen observer, you may have also noticed that there are 3 different shapes of eggs. You guessed it, these will spawn 3 different types of ads. The large rounder eggs spawn colossal spiders which need to be tanked, the skinnier eggs will spawn voracious worms which need to be interrupted, and the egg clusters will spawn parasites, which fixate on random players that need to be grouped up and killed before they can duplicate themselves, either by reaching their target or after a timer. Each sector of the room favors one egg type, and based on the boss pace from testing, you'll need to deal with every sector, so choose where you start carefully. The boss starts with 90 energy when you pull, and at 100 energy, Ovi'nax will cast Ingest Black Blood. Ovi'nax will charge towards the nearest of the big containers in each corner of the room. Once he reaches it, he will begin dealing damage and applying a healing absorb to every player with each tick, as well as spawning swirlies you need to dodge. After the channel finishes, Sanguine Overflow will begin to expand from where the container is located. If it reaches any eggs, it will immediately hatch and also empower them, as well as triggering Caustic Reaction, which applies a massive raid-wide dot, most likely resulting in a wipe. As a result, your strategy should be to hatch the eggs before the Sanguine Overflow reaches them. How do you do that? Well, after Ingest Black Blood finishes, Ovi'nax will immediately cast Experimental Dosage, and then subsequently cast this every minute afterwards. He will mark several players with this purple circle outline. Those players need to get to an egg, and when the debuff expires, it will deal damage and then hatch the egg they are next to. It's important to coordinate where people are going, as, at least during testing, there wasn't a lot of leeway for people going to the wrong egg. Ideally, you just want to make sure you're hatching all the eggs that are closest to the container in order to prevent the Sanguine Overflow from reaching them first. This can be accomplished through a number of various ways, such as using world markers, voice comms, or even weak words that will automatically assign it for you. Lastly, there are a few other mechanics Ovi'nax will do during the fight. The tank mechanic in this fight applies a debuff that, when it expires, deals more damage based on missing HP. Sticky Web will mark several players, dealing damage every second and slowing them by 50%, as well as applying a circle around them. Those players need to move away from other players to get dispelled, which will deal AoE damage and root players caught in the circle for 8 seconds. And that's pretty much it. It just rinse and repeat 3 times as the room shrinks due to Sanguine Overflow. In testing, there was a small safe space in the exact middle of the room, but not big enough for you to spread out with sticky webs or anything if this fight ends up being a DPS check. On Mythic, there's a couple notable changes. First, eggs now require 2 simultaneous experimental dosage circles to hatch them. Secondly, do you remember how we talked about how each sector favors a certain type of egg? Well, on Mythic, when that type of egg is hatched, you'll have to deal with the mutated version of that ad. Each ad gains 50% bonus HP, as well as an additional effect. Colossal spiders will now apply a stacking debuff on their vicious bite that reduces healing taken by 10% for 15 seconds. Voracious worms gain a 100% increase to their cast speed, and blood parasites will gain a 10% move speed every 1 second until they are slain. From my experience of raid testing, the most brutal one to deal with was voracious worms, as they cannot be crowd controlled or moved, and ended up being really spread out and requiring a decent number of kicks. The TLDR of this fight is as follows: hatch eggs before the Sanguine Overflow reaches them, move out with sticky web, group up and AoE blood parasites, interrupt voracious worms poison burst. On Mythic, be aware of which ads are being empowered and adapt accordingly. That does it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.